Peace, love, and blessings, fam. Johnny Sally here with day 26 of 60, reading through Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne W. Dyer. If you've missed the previous episodes, you can look them up on YouTube at Loyalty Life, spelled L-Y-F-E, Legacy LLC. Let's get into day number 26, Romantic Love. From Sonnets from the Portuguese. How do I love thee? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being and ideal grace, I love thee to the level of everyday's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to loss. With my lost saints, I love thee with the breath, smile, tears of all my life, and if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Elizabeth Barrett Browning was an English poet and the wife of poet Robert Browning. Her themes embraced her broad humanitarian interest, her unorthodox religious feeling, her affection for her adopted country, Italy, and her love for her husband. This sonnet by Elizabeth Barrett Browning is perhaps the best known poem of pure romantic love ever written. It would be a rare person who, upon hearing, "How do I love thee?" would not automatically follow it up with, "Let me count the ways." It is a fabulous idea to indeed count the ways that you love another, particularly one whom you love in a romantic sense. The story of Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning, a major poet also included in this book, is one of the great love stories of all time. These two sensitive poets were united in love through their poetry before they even met each other. Elizabeth had published in 1844 her second volume of love poetry, which was well received in London literary circles. In January 1845, she received a letter from the highly regarded poet Robert Browning, which read, "I love your verses with all my heart, dear Miss Barrett. I do, as I say, love these books with all my heart, and I love you too." They met later that summer and married the following year. Elizabeth had experienced a great deal of sickness as a young woman and was living with her father, who knew nothing of her courtship by mail with Robert Browning. In fact, they were married secretly and moved to Italy for her health without the consent of her father. He transitioned in 1856, never having forgiven his daughter for her actions. Elizabeth and Robert Browning lived in romantic bliss in Italy, where she gave birth to their only child in 1849. She wrote many passionate poems in opposition to slavery in the United States. In 1861, when she was 55 years old, her illness reappeared and she transitioned in her husband's arms as he told her of his undying love for her. The story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning is embodied in this well-known sonnet from her collection of sonnets from the Portuguese. Her closing line literally speaks to her great love for her husband, who loved her even before he ever saw her face, simply because of the grace of her soul, which she expressed with her poems of love. "And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death." In this sonnet, a woman pours out her deep love for the man she loves and says to us all that being in love is not the result of a thunderbolt crashing down on you, rendering you speechless and wilting you by the magnitude of the love energy. It is not a purely physical attraction that makes one feel so in love. No, it is a multitude of little things that constitute the feeling of romantic love. As the sonnet says, "I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need." If you feel that scrumptious feeling, count the ways as a regular part of your relationship. My wife, Marceline, is a beautiful woman And every time I look at her, I think of how lucky I am to be in love with and have that love returned by such an angelic looking being. And yet, it is not her appearance that is the source of my love, just as Elizabeth Barrett Browning fails to mention her husband's good looks as even one of the ways she counts in her sonnet. The ways seem small when considered individually, but collectively, they are the source of romantic love. I watch my wife as she sleeps, and her hands are folded as if in prayer. She lies there the entire night not moving, looking exactly like an angel. That is one of the ways. I see her with the children and note her smile of contentment in their joys and accomplishments, though it is subtle and often unreported to me. That is one of the ways. I see in the early morning when I awake before everyone to go on my morning run, as I turn on the kitchen light, that she has done it again. She put out a glass and a stir for me to prepare my morning shake. Nothing huge, but I notice. And that is one of the ways. I notice her when she comes back from her own exercising, sweating, glistening, and stunning as she enters the shower. Nothing magic, but I notice, and that is one of the ways. I observe the soul inside the body, the voice that silently says, I am here to serve. I care about everyone I meet. I give to others and seldom ask for any recognition. I have a tender heart for those less fortunate than I. I have immense respect for God, the divine creator of all. I am deeply saddened by violence. I am connected to you, and I will always be there for you, and it is endless. Death will not end it. I notice that soul that is silent but speaks to me alone, and that is one of the ways. I could go on counting the ways that I love her for 1,000 pages more, but I think the message is clear by now. It is in a multitude of everyday observations that our deepest love is revealed. It is a feeling that goes to the very core of our being, and yet it is most often unexpressed. In this particular sonnet, the poet says she loves totally, yet she expresses it this way. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. I too know this feeling. My breath is my very life itself, and I love you, Marceline, with the same energy that allows me to continue to breathe. Your breath and my own are one, and that is how I love you. The smiles of our lives are the good times, the joys of a romantic dinner, touching your hand in a darkened movie theater, making love on a deserted beach after our own private picnic, the birth of each child. The smiles are many, and you are loved through them all. The tears of our lives also are a major part of the totality we call love. The disappointments, the arguments, the early times when we anguished over being separated before figuring it all out. All the tears of all our lives are ways to count as I answer the question, how do I love thee? Yes, it is the ability to love freely and purely, and in all the so-called little ways that makes the passion come alive and last. This particular sonnet speaks to all of us, some 150 years after it was written, and it will speak to those who feel the fire of free and pure love in their hearts and souls for thousands of years to come. The message to all of us seems clear. Take the time to count the ways, and then take the even more important time to convey them to your beloved, and you will feel what Elizabeth Barrett Browning felt towards her beloved, and how I feel today as well. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach. It doesn't get any better than that. To put into your life the essential message of this world-class sonnet, begin to 1. Make a point of telling your beloved about the little things that you notice which you find so appealing and attractive. By saying them aloud, you give a voice to the loved one you share and create an atmosphere of appreciation. 2. Become aware of who the person inside the body is rather than placing an inordinate amount of attention on the appearance of that body. Show affection for the kindness they exhibit, the love they feel for others, the reverence they show for the spirit in all life. Write your own poem. 3. Write your own poem or love note to your beloved. Forget about the quality of the writing and place your emphasis on conveying your feelings however they are represented in you. A personal poem that comes from your heart will be treasured forever by your beloved. In fact, it will be framed and displayed prominently because it means so much. Love is a very, very beautiful thing, especially when it is unconditional. And that being expressed there is unconditional love. The good, the bad, the happy, the sad. The ability to see all of a person's insecurities and things that they might not love about themselves and love them completely even more because of them. It's to watch someone be at work and create, and in that moment you have now tapped into a meditation of observing them to the highest degree of functionality. And when they pause and look at you and just smile and say, what? That is a moment of pure, true love. It is a moment of just staring into the beauty of another individual and seeing the essence of creation manifested into what to you, and even maybe others, is the beauty that is in the eye of the beholder. If you have a partner, don't wait till the day, which is coming up soon. Take the time today. Let them know you care. Do something small, simple for them that they wouldn't expect. And if you are one of those individuals that does that all the time, kudos, even better, because we have to get back to the old school ways of showing appreciation, not just a text here or a call there. And that's a two-way street. It's not just about us presenting flowers, gifts, or chocolates all the time. Yo, we as men appreciate things of expressions of love as well. And for love to be strong, foundationally unbreakable, it has to be a two-way street. And those who are sincerely observant will acknowledge the littlest of things. To call your partner and say, hey, I got this going on, and for them to immediately respond, what do you need from me, is a beautiful thing, even if you don't need anything. For them to call you and just say, hey, I just wanted to hear your voice. Or especially in those times of distress or struggle or impatience or dis-ease that they may be going throughout the day, for them to just call and say, hey, and you hear the stress leave their voice, is the truest aspect of unconditional love. If you have not found it, I pray to the gods you do, especially the gods of love. Sri Mahalakshmi, Mama Kuan Yin, Ma'at, Athena, Apollo. There are so many. But before you seek that love from somebody else, I question, do you truly love yourself? Because if you don't, you won't be able to fully and unconditionally love another individual, and you will seek for them to find in you what you have not even found in yourself. And not only will you be robbing yourself of the truest, purest love, but you will also be robbing that individual of the truest, purest love, because you will look for them to sustain something in you that you don't have, and you will actually be taking from them being able to sustain it within themselves. So again, I pray that you do find someone that loves you. If you do not, I pray that you find somebody that looks at you and just stares at you in complete, utter disbelief that they have a partner to share this reality with. And before that, make sure you love yourself completely. If you got time to scroll, you got time to figure out how to love yourself. I thank you for being here, as always, more so for yourself than for me. I ask that you walk in love, walk in light, walk in peace, and know that you are loved.